Hi, comic book fans. Welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. And I'm very excited because we have appearing for the second time Mark Hutchinson. If you have been watching my channel 7 months ago, you would have seen me interviewing Mark as a comic creator, trying to launch his first comic using Kickstarter. And Mark, how did you get on?
Actually, quite well. We you know how Kickstarter is. You have usually a nice start, a quiet middle, and then it's all hands to the to the post at the end. And it's like a marathon. You're running across the finishing line. But yeah, we over exceeded the target, which is great. We looked for 2,000. We got like 2,500. And I think the bulk of it came in the last 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was going, well, it's not going on.
I know. The night before, I thought we're not going to make it, and I thought, no. We will. People do a lot of things at the last minute. However, on this campaign number 2, we advise you to do it after you've watched this amazing video with Mark and myself, because people forget Christmas is looming. You'll get busy, and you'll go, oh, I should have done that. And so, yeah, we'd like to do it early this year.
Right. So exactly. So the last time I did a video, Mark was looking for support for launching issue 1, which he got, and now he's looking for support for issue 2. So having seen the quality of issue 1, I do strongly recommend that you go and support the Kickstarter, which I will put a link in the below, so you can click onto the Kickstarter and support issue 2. Some really great stuff there. As usual, you donate 20, 30, 40 quid and you get different rewards for doing so. Yeah, Mark, as this is correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but this was originally a novel, and it was
Yes.
it was a trilogy.
It's either a trilogy or it could be a book series now.
Right.
So it's 3 or 5.
Oh, right, okay. So we're at least 50 to 60 comics in this series. So we need to get this so that it's it's funded all the way through to issue 60, because there's a cracking story going on. I'm already engaged with a couple of the characters. It's really well written, and the art is really extremely strong.
It's very good, isn't it? It really is good. I'll give you a good example. We got some comic shop versions printed a few weeks ago with the barcode on the back, and I took them to Gosh Comics, and they're out there on the shelf. And because it's S for Spirit Tracers, we're next to Spider-Man. And I took a photograph, and I thought, there's 60 years between these two amazing comic books, in history, but the artwork is equal to the Spider-Man artwork, and it's Marvel. So that speaks volumes for us.
The paper quality is better.
It is. Yes, it is. It's actually slightly thicker. There's a nice sheen across it as well. I'm glad you spotted that. Well, you are an expert, so you would have spotted that.
Well, the Marvel paper quality is notoriously bad at the moment.
Yeah.
So you're now on to issue 2.
We are, and I've got the preview of the issue 2 cover here in a frame, which is this.
Oh, brilliant.
And our artist, Ario Murti, who did the bulk of the comic, he actually did his first cover for us, and this is it.
Interesting.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
You've got the 2 droids that make a big appearance in issue 2, and they're huge characters. You've got the pod. It's a rail pod that's going to hopefully burrow its way underground to lead a group of youngsters to safety, because just to put you in the picture, if you're new, a flood is looming caused by the villains at Crystal City, and they've known about this for a couple of years, and they've been building this pod. It's motorized. They've tested it out. It will work. Well, hopefully it will work. And it's going to take away a generation to a new land. The elders are going to have to stay, a little bit like in Superman the movie,
yes. Well,
on Krypton,
yeah,
where the elders stayed and went down with it. So we do a little nod to a bit of retro Superman. And that's one of our main characters, Robert Miller, who's a visionary god. And that's his incapable droid, Nedlog, who is a huge character. And these are the two villains, Tetra and Rafleisha as well. Now, because they're villains, they've put somebody into the pod who they're controlling. So they're going to put a
no spoilers, Mark. No spoilers.
That's all I'm going to say. I don't know how it's going to work out. Well, I do, but
When you do,
yeah.
But other than that,
I've kind of written it. Yeah.
Right now, I have a little bone of contention with you.
Okay.
So I want to know why you aren't at Thought Bubble this year, because the Thought Bubble is the convention dedicated to independent comic creators. And I'd love to have seen a little table there with Spirit Tracers and you promoting your comic. So, so I think next year you need to get a table at Thought Bubble when you're promoting
I will.
issue 4 or 5. And if you can't afford a full table, I'll probably do a split table with you.
Okay.
Because I need somewhere to sit down and leave my bag.
Okay, yeah.
I've got a couple of US comic creators who I think I could probably sell at Thought Bubble. So maybe we can do a joint effort and do a joint table at Thought Bubble next
year. That would be great, yeah. When is that next year?
It's always in November.
Okay.
It's usually second or third week in November. Yeah.
Right, okay. Excellent. Well, I'm going to be at the Comic Mart in December at the Royal National.
I'm not. I'm going to be in Egypt. So.
Well, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at the Comic Mart so much. I think you're allowed to go to Egypt.
I'm allowed. I'm missing that one, so I will be back in February.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah. Well, there are pyramids in our story, So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So some strange things happen on a pyramid, but I can't say.
Right. Okay.
Talking of issue 1, he says with his salesman hat.
Yeah.
We do actually have on the Kickstarter website. We have some add-ons, and it includes a few of these.
Yeah. You're breaking up.
This is one of them who's done work for DC.
Yeah.
Nay Ruffino, she's done cover work for colors for Marvel and DC, but she did the color for that.
And I have that, and
you do, yeah,
it is absolutely fantastic. Really,
and we also have these add-ons, which is the Graham Humphreys hand painted cover, and we also have another Nay Ruffino cover that she did as well. And then, of course, if you want to get the standard cover as an add-on on the Kickstarter campaign, that is too. And then you can catch up with the story. It's important to catch up.
So highly recommended. I'm a big fan of supporting these independent comic creators. It's hard work. There's no money in it. And it's always a labor of love.
It is, yeah. And as you know, Mark, this has been in the works for 14 years, which is quite a long time. But it's amazing how quickly it's become a comic. We only thought of the idea 2.5 years ago, and we're already bringing out issue 2 soon, hopefully. So it's kind of speeded up a little bit, which is good news.
So what part of it so far in the process? You've got issue 1 published. It's out there. It's in Gosh Comics, one of the major comic stores in London. What's been the most enjoyable thing so far of the experience?
I think because it's very much the writing process is very, you're on your own, you're in a little bubble, you're not sharing it with anybody. You do let friends read a little bit here and there. But I think the most exciting part for me was sending over my little stick figures and little bubbles and captions to our artist Ario, and him coming up with visuals which are exactly what I wanted in my head, and then him sending every few weeks 2 or 3 color pages finished. And when I get them, I'm just completely blown away, because something that was very much just printed word is now fully fleshed out character talking to me, acting out in different scenes, the scenes that I put down to start with. So in other words, when you're writing down, it's like doing a storyboard, as you know. So I'm the director, the writer, the producer, but then to have the artist come up with the goods, it's like seeing a little mini film, you know, on your phone, which is incredible. So yeah, that was lovely, and the colours leaping out at you, and particularly issue 2, Ario has kind of upped his game somewhat. I did ask him to, politely, but he really did up his game on the visuals for issue 2. There's some beautiful images, because we're using crystal. There's an underground tunnel. It's all lit up green. It's all beautiful, and the crystals are vibrating red for danger. And he's really done a masterful job. I'll actually show you a little preview of one of the pages for your subscribers. This is it, and it looks a bit like the filmation animation from the 70s.
It does. It looks like a storyboard for a film or a TV.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But he's done a great job on that, and these are probably the weakest. This is one of the weakest pages, and yet it's great. You know, very vibrant colours. You know, so you can imagine when the dialogue's there and the captions, it's going to really bring it to life. So very pleased with that. Very, very pleased.
Right. So, so Mark, what's the day job? Do you have a day job?
I do. I'm on the telephone. It's right here. I'm a telephone salesperson for a magazine called The Barrister, for barristers.
Oh, you've told me this before, yes.
Yeah. And then I also do an online music show called Musicana most Thursday nights.
Yes, and that is well worth. I have indulged in that a couple of times, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it each time I've done it. In fact, I need to get into the habit of downloading it.
Yeah,
playing it when I drive down, when I do a long.
Well, we're on I'm on Mixcloud. I post up onto Mixcloud. So if you're able to, you just go to Mixcloud. You follow me, Mark Anthony, because that's my middle name, Mark Anthony Hutchinson, and all the shows are on there. But we've recently started a few new features. We include a feature called Spotlight, where we spotlight a musical film production. And voiceover artist. She does a double header with me, and we talk about different films. And then I've started this really bizarre comic feature. It's like listening to a comic on the radio, if that makes sense. We have a pigeon that's been coming into our local Starbucks for about 22 months now, daily. And we named him Spot the pigeon, after the American cartoon series. And I've come up with this character where we interview him every week, and he comes up with all these amazing little stories. The other week, he took me to the Nebworth Woods, so we had to use sound effects. And we've got Cyril the Squirrel, we've got Wilbur the Wasp, and they've got their own community radio station up a tree called Tree FM. So I also write scripts for that every week, which is hard to come up with. So you're going to come up with jokes, puns, and it's like a little radio capsule, you know, of about 10 minutes.
That sounds fantastic. I'll definitely.
But it's great fun. It's great fun, and it's so popular. It came out of nowhere. So
I have listened to one with Spot the pigeon.
Yes,
I think that was probably one of his first appearances. I haven't listened to one with the full montage of squirrels and
wasps.
And wasps.
It's bizarre. Well, I mean, what happens? You're sitting in Starbucks, and these characters write the material. I'm always there with a pen and paper because I'm writing stuff for the comic. And during the summer, Spot was picking up the food, and the staff always push him out, you know, get him out. He always comes back because they've got electric doors, so they're always opening, so he can always come in. And I saw this one wasp flying near the coffee machines, and 3 of the staff were so busy trying to get rid of this wasp and put it in a cup and let it go. Spot realized that, was cleaning up big time. He didn't get thrown out because they were busy on the wasp. So they emptied this wasp,
so
and the wasp went round and came back in the other door.
so it was a double action feature. So
it was a double action feature, and to be honest, it would make a great comic book actually, with all these characters, you know, in this wood playing out these things. So that's another idea that I've got, but we'll do the Spirit Tracers for the moment. Too much to do. But it would make a fun little comic that you used to get in the 70s, you know, those crazy little cartoon series comics. So yeah, I might well do it.
It's a bit Will-o'-the-Wisp.
It is, yeah, it really is. So yeah, it's nice to juggle lots of different things. And Starbucks is often where I go and write loads of the script anyway. So I'm going to have to now.
Do you have some sort of discount deal with Starbucks now? Because
I wish. No, I get a loyalty card, but that's what everybody gets. If you have a certain number, you get a free coffee. But I have a regular Spot, no pun intended, every day. And Spot was there today without fail. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's there every day, come rain or shine, because I'm there 6 days a week, but he's always there. So maybe he'd like the comic. Who knows? Maybe he likes the Spirit Tracers. Science fiction, fantasy.
Yeah. So do the younger people understand the reference to Spot the pigeon? They probably don't, do they?
Probably not, no. But they hear this song at the beginning and they kind of get it, you know, because we use the theme of.
Oh, you actually use the Spot the pigeon? Spot.
We do. And then on the Mixcloud, when I post it up, we put a little picture of the pigeon blowing the trumpet with the hat on as well. I don't know what Hanna-Barbera would think. They'd probably hopefully think it was good, you know, maybe the sons of.
No, I don't know.
Still about.
If you get too successful, they might come after you, Mark.
They might have to change his name. That's okay. We don't mind doing that.
So Spirit Tracers, sort of, it's an epic arc. We're right at the start. Is there a sort of bit you're looking forward to? You know, if you take your full arc,
yeah.
You know, is there a bit you? I mean, the start's always good because you're introducing characters.
Yeah.
Is there a sort of bit during the arc of say 60 comics that you sort of think, oh, I really hope we get to that bit?
Yes, there is. Yeah, and there's one bit that I'm really looking forward to that will probably be in maybe issue 4 or 5, or even 6. It involves a Seagam princess, and what we do with our characters, we often reverse the letters to the meaning of who they are. So a Seagam princess is a magic princess because that's the word magic backwards. But there's a nice sequence that I remember writing, and I can see the visuals so clearly in my mind now. And visually, that's going to really look great in a comic, you know, really spectacular. A nice big page on its own, showing the landscape and the character. But yeah, that. And and there's a few other bits as we go along, certainly. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's lots of characters.
And I suppose one of the things that, you know, if you a lot of, because you're doing, this is episodic, of course, as comics, it's automatically episodic.
Yes.
My guess is your novels weren't episodic unless your chapters were episodic. But you know, if you take Dickens, for instance, when he published his novels in episodes in you know, magazines, they weren't published as novels. So you always had a cliffhanger at the end of each episode. So are you having to adapt your story so you've got a cliffhanger at each episode, or were they there anyway because you'd written it as chapters?
They were there anyway because of the chapters. So I've abridged some of the chapters because, as I said to you in our first chat, the big word when I'm doing this is edit, 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 because you're having to put so much information into so many pages. Issue 2 is bigger. We have a 20-page main story, which is bigger than the first one. Yeah. We've also got a short story, which is continuing, which is a single page, but it's page 2. and we're also going to have a poster in the middle of the comic as well.
Okay,
of
wow.
two of the. So it'll be a 28 pager for issue 2, and we really do get a little bit more under the skin of the characters in issue 2. We also introduce some droids. There's some nice comedic moments, but there's also some lovely emotional moments as well, because the father, Rataf, who's the leader of the council, he's having to stay, and he's having to say goodbye to his son. And we show in a lovely flashback. Well, actually, it's a panel, and it cleverly shows him thinking of moments in time with his father, and each thought bubble is a moment when he was learning to fly on his hover glides. There's a bubble where he built his first droid with his father, and there's another moment when his father moved away for the first time to try and get the job as leader of the Crystal Council, which he got. So that's a lovely panel. So there are some nice emotional moments, and even in one of the panels, we've made it a heart shape, which is quite emotional too. That was my idea. So I'm beginning to come up with ideas for panels more so in this issue than I was the first one.
So one of the things I sort of picked up from you is you were pretty close with your father. Do you think one of the characters or some of the characters in this are influenced by your dad?
Yes, and later he is a character in the book, stroke comic. He becomes he's a collector of droids and droid pieces, and he mends droids.
Okay.
And he's got one artificial leg, and he has a droid that looks a little bit like a 16mm projector.
Oh, right.
So that's going to be interesting. Okay. So yeah, he's in it.
Your dad was a great.
So that's rather nice.
Film historian, wasn't he? And, yeah.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. Very much so. And he was always great to me, because he'd always encourage me to say, "Well, keep going," you know. And years ago, we were visiting a friend in Virginia, and he took one of my friends to a flea market. And because my dad had a very powerful voice, you know, you'd hear him coming a mile off. And he suddenly grabbed my friend's son round the shoulders and said, "Come with me." And he came to the nearest guy selling all sorts of bric-a-brac, and he had some comic books. And my dad shouted out, "Do you have any comics? This boy likes comics." And the line has stuck for years, so much so it's on the back of the issue 1 of the comic. You know, we've got his quote, "The boy likes comics. Do you have any comics?" So I'm quite tickled that he's a part of it, even at that junction, you know. So it's rather nice.
I like that. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
So I'm now actually I'm going to assume issue 2 is going to be a done deal. So when do you expect we would see issues 3 and 4, or you expect to see issues 3 and 4 next year? Is it 2 issues a year, do you think?
Yes. No, next year definitely, probably by early spring next year for issue 3, hopefully. We are going to actually try and push it to an independent comic publisher.
Yeah.
We're gonna go for Image, and we're gonna go for Boom Studios.
Okay. Yeah.
But we want 2 issues to show them, because there's a lot of content in 2 issues. So that's the game plan, and also we're going to push it for a novelization as well. So these first early issues will be quite rare, because eventually it will be a novel series somehow, some way.
If that happens, this will make these quite valuable. So
yeah.
That's interesting. So who is leading that? Are you doing that, or I know you have some connections in the comic industry. Is it limited edition comics that you've got near you?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they will be able to assist. Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and then obviously the publishers in the UK, I can do myself.
Yeah.
I will literally physically send them issue 1 and 2 and show them, look, this is it. It's already alive. Would you like this as a novel? You know, it's been successful. This is it so far.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. That makes life a lot easier, of course, if you can.
And it'll be nice that they both come out and they both work in tandem. You can have a novelization, you can have a comic version as well, a comic book version, as it's been done quite a few times. The Sandman has been done, hasn't it? Quite a few others over the years. So and also issue 2 really shows that it could make a great film series or a television series as well. When you see issue 2, you think, my gosh, this has got, it's got Star Wars in it, it's got the Wizard of Oz in it, it's got all sorts in it, really. So there's a lot of potential with this series for sure.
Okay, that's been really good. Fascinating discussion as usual, Mark. I'm going to wish you all the best for the issue 2. I'm sure it's going to happen. I will certainly be supporting it, and I encourage all my viewers to do this.
That would be great. Yeah, if every one of your viewers buys a few copies here and there, we'll get our target early.
Well, exactly. So 186 people watched the last video. So if all of them watch this and they all donate £10, you're just about there, mate.
We're there. That's right. And we're also going to be adding on things as well. There'll be another cover if we reach a certain target by another artist too. So a lot to look forward to.
Indeed. So Mark, that's been really good, and best of luck. I think it's going to be a big success, and I think one of the independent publishers will pick it up.
You never know. Yeah, it's got a lot. I mean, I'm not just saying it because it's mine, but if I saw this myself as a buyer, and I do buy a lot of independents, and I do, buy a few Kickstarter campaigns, it's got a lot of potential. And I think, those organizations are looking for something that will make them money, of course.
Yeah, they're looking for something that's going to make them money. I mean, that's
but this is also a little bit different. It's a little bit different. It's got science fiction flavor. Element of looking upon it in comics is an interesting observation. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, thank you very much, and we'll hopefully interview again next year.
That would be great, Mark.
3 or 4 are coming out.
And enjoy Egypt, and I'll see you at a comic mart in the new year.
Yeah, well, so we need to get you at Thought Bubble next year.
Yes, please.
Cheers. And that's your lot, guys. See you again soon.